Good morning, Accelerators organization. I am Joel Gandara, and I am always happy to be here. I always say that when I do these, I'm always excited when I look at my calendar, and that's the activity I have either in the morning, afternoon, whenever it is. So glad to be here. About me, Joel Gandara. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid, and been doing this as a mentor for several years now. One of the older mentors, maybe even in years of age, but definitely in doing these lives for Accelerators organization. Thanks, Sean, for having me. And let's see, recently sold my company after 20 something years of running it. And it was my first good size exit. I've had a few smaller exits, but this one was a bigger one. And pretty much done if I wanted to, but I don't want to be done. I want to keep doing stuff. So I run a challenge program called 31dailychallenges.com, and I lead guys through just getting better and having better discipline, being in better fitness and stronger and better relationships. And then guess what happens? Your business does better. I always think that you're the ceiling of your business potential. If you're down here in discipline and in skills and all these things, then your business can only grow to there. But if you keep improving yourself, however it is, then you're going to get better. All right. Bear with me. I got out of bed to do this because I am sick and pretty tired and coughing a little bit. So I'm going to be coughing. All right. Let me get to the questions. First question we have is from Nick Van Treese. Is there a process or an easy way to get better knowledge or a hold on my business expenses? I have a vehicle wrap business. I feel like everywhere I turn, I am paying money for X and X. I'm never really making progress at actually understanding where I'm at financially. I just hired my first full-time contractor, not an employee yet. I feel like I'm all over the place, and when it comes to being financially responsible, always paying for whatever comes up, and I'm spending more than I am bringing in right now for revenue. It's a very fearful position to be in, and I don't know how to break the cycle. I don't operate a lot of cash, usually under $15,000 in my bank account. So Nick, here's my recommendation. You don't have to learn and overnight be an expert on fixing this problem. What you do need to do is have a couple of conversations with people who do know how to do these things. I read your question over the weekend just in preparation for this, and I messaged you. So hopefully you're watching. And I said, watch the thing, the live, I'll answer it. And then if you want to have a conversation with me and schedule a call, what you're going to see during that call is the way I operate. And I've run a lot of businesses and I've coached a lot of people who own businesses. I don't know, it sounds like from what you're telling me, you may not have very organized books, like QuickBooks and very clean accounting. If you did, we could do this conversation in 2 minutes. We'll look at the P&L and we'll see the numbers and we'll figure it all out. I'll ask a few questions. If you don't, in preparation for that call that you're going to book with me, I would get all those things ready. Revenue. Where's the money going? So where's it coming in through? And then where's it going? And then we're going to see if you're profitable, if you're not profitable. But when we see that, just seeing a good, clean profit and loss statement, I already know the story of that company. And I'm not an expert, but once you've done this enough, you start seeing what's going on. And that enables me to then ask you the right questions. And then as you answer those, things are going to be coming to your mind like, oh, that's right. I really don't need that vendor, or I should negotiate that. I'll give you an example. I was coaching a doctor for a few years. He has multiple clinics, buying up competitors' clinics and putting them all together. And he told me in one conversation that there was nothing more he could do to tighten up his expenses. And I said, well, let's go over them. And he started telling me expenses. And one of them that I started questioning, he said, no, I don't think we can do anything about it. And I said, call that vendor and see if they can lower this price. Let's just see. I think that's a little high. And he did. And that alone was $2,500 a month. That's $2,500 of pure profit just by lowering a cost of one thing. I have a YouTube video that isn't me talking. It's a coaching client that I had and who's been through my men's program multiple times. He's a very successful entrepreneur named Chris Brisson. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see it. And it was like a testimonial that he sent me without me asking him. So I put it on my YouTube. And he's basically saying that one time in a coaching session, on the way out, I just happened to mention, hey, have you negotiated your contracts? And this and that, whatever I said. And he said that that alone put hundreds of thousands of dollars in his pocket. That one conversation, because he went back to his office and did these things that got him a lot of money back. Now, I understand you may not have the size of business that making small adjustments will save you hundreds of thousands, but you are where you are and you work from there. So if you do what I said, schedule a call with me, but be ready, have financials in order, and as best you can, where's the money? I mean, how much money has come in and what's going out and to who exactly. And then that'll allow us to go through a process of asking questions and getting to the bottom of it. Next question is from Busan Kalvani. I'm creating a software product. Should I wait for the product to complete, or should I first check the interest in the market? The product is basically a web app which brings all your communication in one place. I also have other plans for tracking daily tasks and routine planning. How should I go about it? First, get the people's interest peaked, or create a basic working product, then go to market and investing in marketing. Bushan, that's a tough one. If you need the market to guide you and to tell you, hey, go this way or that way, then absolutely. If you're very clear that that already is what the market needs and you don't have to ask anybody, then you don't need them. But the market could be helpful. I think it was, Henry Ford. Here's an opposite view. Henry Ford, who made famous the assembly line in the automobile industry, he said that if he would have asked people for their opinion, they would have asked for faster horses. He was so above in his thinking, just like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and all these guys, that they didn't really need to consult the market. They knew better. I personally don't know better than the market. I believe I'm just an average guy who's had some success, but I listen to the market. So yeah, if you're going to benefit by showing this to some people and getting their feedback, then go for it. Because maybe before you go developing and spending too much money, you can make those tweaks along the way and go in the best direction possible. The only problem is be careful, because people, and I founded a software company, and I don't run it, but I have guys running it. And be careful that you don't try to do all things for everybody, because when you ask for people's opinion, this guy's going to want this thing, this girl's going to want this other, and pretty soon you go, well, wait a minute, there's going to be $10 million of development costs up front because I got to do all these things. Go solve a big problem, and then go from there, and then you can add little side periphery things to it. Let's go to the next question. Got a good amount of questions. All right, Marco Antonio Santeliu. What do you do every day that make you a better leader? Sanfelino Concierge is your best host in Cartagena, Colombia for the perfect vacation or corporate retreat. We are a destination management company taking care of A to Z for successful individuals and groups. I want to do things that can help me be a better leader. Please let me know any resources or ideas you have that I can do. Marco Antonio, I'm very fortunate. In the 14 businesses that I bought one that they were all underwear and swimwear and apparel companies. And I bought one that was called Jocko. It was an underwear company. And then I sold that website, the domain name, jocko.com, to Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL and the best leader I've ever met. And so with that transaction came coaching. So he coaches me, and I have access to him whenever I need something. I don't overuse it, but it's a very valuable tool. And like I said, I think he's the best leader I've ever met. Not just militarily, leading teams in Iraq in the Battle of Ramadi, and his team killed over 500 insurgents. And, he's seen a lot of ups and downs and all that. But in business, he also runs a very successful, multiple businesses, apparel company, jiu-jitsu, and a training center in San Diego. Sorry about the noise. I've got a helicopter flying overhead right now. Sorry about that. And so Jocko is the top guy I know on leadership. I would read his books. One is Extreme Ownership. I think that's a very valuable book for life and for business. And what I do for leadership is I let people lead. I am the leader. And I do consider myself at the top in a lot of ways in business and my family and all these things. But I let people do the leading. They come to me when they really need something and we talk it through, but I'm not telling them what to do. That's not a good leader. Me saying, here's how you're going to fix this. Do this, this, and this. That doesn't work. What works is me saying, all right, let's come up with a plan together, think it through, let me know. And then as they tell me things that I think are very good, I go, all right, that sounds fantastic. Let's go give it a shot. Let me know how it works out at the end of the day or end of the week, whatever. Now, if they're telling me a story about the way they want to do things, and I think it's a horrible idea, I don't tell them that. But I don't want them to go waste time and money. So what I'll say is, all right, well, maybe that'll work, but what do you think if we confront this problem? And it's basically the problem I know is going to happen if they do that, because I've been doing whatever that thing is for much longer than them. And now they have to think through it. And I think your brain, when it has to think through a problem, whether it's real or not, it's gone through it. So when you make them think through it, it's like they're already there. And now they have to come up with a solution. And they go, well, if that happens, we would do this. And they go, okay, that's a great idea. Let's go into it, but be ready to pivot and do that thing. I think that's a great leadership skill, is to create leaders. Otherwise, you're just going to be a worker forever. The boss, but you're going to be a worker forever. I got myself out of my business, out of the day to day, because I built leaders who knew how to run the show without me. They even knew how to make good decisions without me. It took a little while to coach them up to that, but I really believe in that. I think that's one action you could start taking. Create leaders and read that book, Extreme Ownership. Marco Antonio Sanfeliu asks another question. He actually is going to ask a few here, and that's great. He's getting his money's worth in AO. All right, how do I know if I should focus on just my business or get involved with new businesses or other projects? Let's see. I am the type of person who is highly creative, and I'm always thinking of different things in business, all which I could do and have the potential to be successful. What is your take as an entrepreneur about new businesses in addition to your own, and whether you should or can get involved or even investing in new businesses or projects of others? Marco Antonio, I get it. If you're an entrepreneur, there's a chance you have ADHD, and that means you probably get amazed by a shiny object and you want to go see what that is, right? Because we're very curious and we want to be everywhere at the same time. I am totally that way. But when you become very successful, you really start learning how to say no. Right? That's not for me. That's something for somebody else to explore. And maybe I can kick that off to a friend and say, hey, I was looking at this. It's not for me, but why don't you go take a look at it? And then if you need me, let me know. And let different people run with things. I once found a cool little business. It was super simple. It was netting like $150,000 a year, but it would have required some effort on my part. And I didn't have the time. I didn't want to. And so I gave the idea to someone. I go, look at this business. And I don't know, maybe they went and did it, but I like that better than me trying to jump in every little thing that's not scalable. It's not up my wheelhouse. It's not something I could have done really, really well at. So I would go for the most meaningful idea. If your travel business is the most meaningful thing that you can make a big impact, make a lot of money, be happy doing, then go into that. And then keep your radar open and look for those opportunities. But the point here is, don't go diving at every single opportunity. Start asking yourself, right? In my book, in my course, I have guys trying to figure out what they're all about and what their why is. And once we develop that, we get really good at making better decisions and saying no to the wrong things. Just like I believe you should say no to the wrong relationships. Everyone in your life does not deserve to be in your life if they're negative, if they're a drug addict, if they have problems that you can't help them with, and it's just bringing you down. So same thing with all these business ideas. Be careful. I've seen a lot of guys get too distracted off the prize that they have in their hand just to go, what is it? A bird in the hand is more valuable than two in the bush. You're going to let go of this one to go try to catch those two. Make sure you're holding onto this one and you're taking care of it before you go grab one of those two in the bush, because odds are they're going to get away from you. Put this one in a cage and then go try to get one of those two in the bush. There's a good book, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, that teaches that lesson. All right. Let's see. Is there anything you have read or listened to lately that you found useful as an entrepreneur that you think I could benefit from? I'm always looking to learn, so I thought I would see if you have anything I can read, watch, or listen to. Coincidentally, I've already mentioned in your previous questions, I mentioned two different books, Extreme Ownership, The Alchemist, The Secret, can't hurt me. I got a list. I got a lot of books. On a good year, I'll read 50 books. On a bad year, I might read 20. And so I've read a lot of books over the years. And yeah, just the fact that you're interested is fantastic. You're going to find books. And once you go down, if you use Audible for audiobooks, maybe, once you read some, it's going to start giving you recommendations. And so you'll never run out of good books. And if you hang around with the right people, they'll recommend more books than you can read. That happens to me. I have such amazing people in my circle that I get too many recommendations. I can't read all the books I get recommended daily. All right. One more question from Mark Antonio. Oh, no. The next one is from Rohit Gupta, and he's got 2 questions, and then we wrap it up. How do you spend a business line of credit in the early stages of your business? I have an online and retail location of exotic snacks and drinks business. My brother got approved for a $10,000 business line of credit, which we're waiting for the deposit. I want to use it to grow my e-commerce side as it's lacking. What should I spend on to grow my business? So Rohit, I have pulled a line of credit once in my life, and it was to buy a business. And I put some cash, and the part that I borrowed was like $125,000. Then I paid it off a few months later. I just needed that cash for the moment. And so I don't have a lot of experience on borrowing money. Other than that, I haven't really borrowed money. But it's weird because you got the loan in place already. It's coming, the deposit's coming, but you don't know why you need it. So I would have done it the other way around. You're going to start paying interest the moment that hits your bank account, and that's money lost. I would have had a plan already. I would figure out what will make this business grow. Start talking to some e-commerce people in the similar space who have experience, and they'll tell you, you need to do this, this, and this. Here's what worked for me. Again, this is the importance of having really good people in your life who have these experiences, because then they're going to be able to dive in, look at your business, and then say, all right, here's what I think you should do, and then go get costs on that, and then go do it. I prefer to get that advice from somebody who's done it, not from an agency who just wants my money. You might have to hire an agency, but I'd rather come in knowing what I want before I hire that agency, so they're not guiding me, but rather someone with previous experience is guiding me. Next and last question, Rohit Gupta also. How do you get comfortable with confrontation? Wow. It's almost like you knew I was going to be the one that answers this. I am not a confrontational guy, and I give up easily when it comes to confrontation. I will go back and forth with someone, but eventually give in and not say everything I want to say. I avoid confrontation as much as I can and don't want to keep repeating that. So Rohit has not been through my program, I guarantee you, because he would be not looking for fights, but not backing down from fights if he had. Rohit, this is your life, man. You're going to live one time. And when you're 80 or 90 years old, you're going to regret every single time you let people step on you. That doesn't mean fight. That means stand up for yourself and don't let people take advantage of you. You're not disrespectful by saying, no, I disagree, and here's why. And you state the reasons. That's respectable, man. A guy who just backs down, that's not respectable. And, my whole game, my whole talk is about being a real man. My book is about being a man. That's not a manly feature of yours, to let you yourself just get walked over. That's going to carry over in business, life, relationships, work. Everything that surrounds your life will be affected that way if you don't make a change with that. All right, everybody. I hope that something here was valuable and brought something to your lives. I wish you all a fantastic day. Thank you.